better way to celebrate America's independence than looking at a series that started with the help of British developer Argonaut. I remember snagging a complete copy of the original Star Fox at a flea market, and even though the PS1, Saturn, and N64 were already out, it blew my fucking mind. Before this in Panzer Dragoon, I shied away from shooters because I typically sucked at them, but this furbag Fox McCloud taught me to stop worrying and love the Nova Bomb. The Super NES sequel was unreleased, so the next time gamers saw Fox, it was in the form of the N64 reboot. Now I always thought that was weird. Was it that necessary to start the story fresh so soon? Part of the reason I was weirded out was because I love the character designs from the original. Look at this. These look like something Jim Henson's studio would put out. Imagine if they made a Star Fox film in the vein of Dark Crystal or Ninja Turtles. I think we can all agree that a Nintendo movie like that would have easily topped this. Yeah, I own a copy. Shut up. Still, only those incapable of having fun can hate Star Fox 64, and understandably, anticipation for further exploits of the Star Fox team reached fever pitch. By now, we all know the sordid history behind Star Fox Adventures. Rare had an IP for N64 called Dinosaur Planet, blah blah blah, ran on the Ocarina of Time engine but had character designs similar to Star Fox 64, yada yada yada. Nintendo made them move it to GameCube and give it a Star Fox campaign. Whatevs. Rare jumps to Microsoft after the game's release, blah blah blah. Okay, we can all mull over what might have been, but that was over a decade ago. Let's just have a look at what we got. Again, this game began as a knockoff of 3D Zelda, similar to how Rare's Banjo-Kazooie games emulated Mario 64. So to get things rolling, there's a quick tutorial intro to familiarize gamers with the controls, but instead of Fox, we get the equivalent of Princess Sally Acorn for the new millennium, Crystal. No, not my rat Crystal, though we loved her, and she shall be missed. Bad enough Nintendo strong-armed Rare into changing the characters and story, but was it necessary to make Rare's new character Furry Fatbait? All too often, the camera zooms in on Crystal's ass or angles down at her cleavage. Come on, ugh. However, the intro does wonders in setting up an epic feel for a world in jeopardy. A power-mad dictator called Scales seeking to unite the planet by force, the Krazoa Palace now bereft of its life-sustaining spirits, it's all good. Too bad at the end, Crystal gets her fuzzy ass encapsulated in a crystal, and stays there most of the game. You know, Princess Zelda usually helps out before getting captured, or even after disaster strikes, sending messages, supplying Link with weapons, becoming an armor-possessing spirit, something. Crystal? Utterly useless for over 90% of the game. Nice. Fox McCloud, however, soon learns of Dinosaur Planet's plight thanks to General Pepper. Turns out this planet is in the Lilac system. Does anyone remember a Dinosaur Planet mentioned back in Star Fox 64? I sure as shit don't. Anyway, Fox accepts the mission, and after a short run in the R-Wing, he lands in Thorntail Hollow, and oh man! Once again, the game does a splendiferous job of sucking you in. Remember, I'm playing this 11 years after its release, and the graphics hold up remarkably well. The graphics are crisp, detailed, and do wonders for creating an immersive feel. Even finer details like the water physics and particle effects still impress. Attention to detail also shows in the game's main enemies, the Sharpclaw tribe. From their movements to their snorting sounds, Rare put effort into making them repulsive and fun to beat up. Not as memorable as Goombas or Metroids, but they get the job done. And it's impressive how the Sharpclaws emote so well with reptilian snouts. Makes having a coatless, snoutless lizard in that last Spider-Man look even stupider. As we all know, Fox has to get out of his R-Wing and face the Sharpclaw head-on. The combat is simplistic, but hardly gets stolen, and Fox controls like a champ. It's nice how that big-ass A button is for Fox's staff, unlike the B button for the sword and Wind Waker. X is for a barrel roll, Y uses a selected staff ability, and L lets Fox strafe. Useful for the barrels that get thrown at him, as if Rare had to remind us they were behind many Donkey Kong titles. As for piloting the R-Wing, that's relegated to traveling between Dinosaur Planet proper and the chunks that flew off. Now you know where the Sonic series got the idea. Fans have bitched about these R-Wing segments being too brief and feeling tacked on, but if they were left out, fans would also bitch about the game having nothing to do with Star Fox, make them full-fledged levels, and they'd muck up the flow even more. The way I see it, fussier fans would bitch no matter what Rare did. One of the finer points about regular Star Fox games is your responsibility to your wingman. Oftentimes, Fox must deal with bogeys tailing them. Star Fox Adventures preserves that sense of camaraderie by giving us Prince Tricky. He'll usually tail you, and he's vital to Fox's mission. From keeping switches depressed, unearthing hidden doodads, to clearing away thorny growths with flame breath. Like it or not, Fox needs the little guy.
Of the Star Fox team.
Sometimes Tricky can be annoying, however. His heavy breathing can be grating at times. On top of that, Tricky... Wait, did he just laugh at my misfortune? Wake your lazy ass up, foo! Keep Tricky fed, however, and he'll help you through many of the game's puzzles. And boy are there puzzles! If Dinosaur Planet lacks the size of your typical Zelda game, it more than makes up for it with the sheer volume of puzzling objectives. Just about every area has some obstacles that require some thought, combined with the need for deft execution at the controls. Like right here, where Fox must navigate a fuel barrel over air currents and avoid flamethrowers. And the method to get each spellstone Fox is after, no two are alike. The first boss feels like your run-of-the-mill Zelda encounter, but you want to pry the spellstone off this T-Rex's head, properly time it so he gets a good jolt first, then be quick enough to force-feed him a fuel barrel. Oh, and to get the last spellstone, get ready to protect your Cloud Runner buddy from enemy fire as he moves you in to take out these towers, even though your R-Wing is parked down below! So yeah, there's two sets of MacGuffins, those spellstones which will bind the planet back together, and the aforementioned Krazoa spirits which will ensure its ability to sustain life. Once you reach these Krazoa spirits, Fox will need to perform some ritualistic test, like this strength test that amounts to button mashing. Use the trick I pulled to best Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid. Take your shirt, put it over your thumb, rub it back and forth non-stop. Works every time. We've established that Rare's curtain call for Nintendo does everything to suck you in. Just like when Link and Kirby had the word adventure slapped on their NES boxes, Fox's outing is worthy of using the word. But can anything pull you out of the immersion? Occasionally.
I'll take this one. Get the one behind me.
Star Fox 64 was remarkable in how successfully it had implemented voice
Something's wrong with the
and sold itself to a fan base wary of their characters being voiced.
I guess I should be
So it was a shock when I found a lot of characters sounded flat and annoying. Not only that, a lot of returning characters sounded different and sounded like ass.
This is straight for scrum, folks.
My head's flopping around like a goddamn bobblehead. Strangely, Slippy doesn't bother me at all. I never understood why fans detested this guy, and now I'm more mystified. In this game, he provides clues and technical data, and typically only when you call, thus hardly ever interrupting the game like a certain fairy we all know. But Slippy permanently earned my respect after the intro on the Great Fox. Slippy don't need instructions to know how to rock! But Fox himself this time around, I don't know. Sometimes it felt Rare was purposely making Fox come off as an impatient dickhole.
Haven't you finished that translator yet? What? No, I'm not paid enough for this.
I cannot warp dinosaurs!
That's a shame.
I can still hear you, Fox.
What am I doing?
Who occasionally thinks with his dick. Something that drops the game below Zelda standards is the paucity of hidden stuff. I figured increasing the health gauge would require finding something like heart containers, but no. Each spellstone you get automatically ups it by one fox head thingy. You do have to hunt down caves that'll increase the magic gauge, however. This one near the starting point, I actually overlooked it for some time. The only real side quest involves finding wells in which you toss down scarabs in exchange for cheat tokens. Then you take them to a well in this maze, and drop them to unlock either pointless menu options or cryptic fortune-telling messages. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Dinosaur Planet's currency is crystalline bugs. I guess they also double food for some locals. I guess you could try getting all the fuel cells in the game. Each time Fox is clear to access another planet chunk, he needs a certain number to power the R-Wing. But they're so plentiful, finding them hardly feels like an accomplishment, especially when they can be purchased for dirt cheap. By the way, why is an alien dinosaur speaking a language I need a translator for, using Arabic numerals? And why, in some areas, is it impossible to go through a couple trees? My biggest disappointment was how the ending seemed to come too abruptly. Even though I knew I was closing in on the last MacGuffin, the endgame still just snuck up on me. Ooh, but wait, it's time to face General Scales, the asshat who put me through all this shit. Oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck up his shit, I'm gonna... Wait, what the ass is going on? That's it? Scales just rolls over and coughs up the final spirit? Talk about anticlimactic! So with all the spellstones and Krazoa spirits in place, Crystal is freed. But uh-oh! Looks like there might be more trouble on the way. So now that Crystal's reclaimed her staff, Fox hops back into his R-Wing for the final battle. So guess who's been pulling the strings all along?
I've been looking forward to this day. To see you again, Fox McCloud.
Yeah, Star Fox Adventures mimics Zelda right down to the old hijacked by Ganon scenario. That still doesn't excuse the lack of a boss battle with Scales. Even Ganon's puppets, like Aghanim, had to fight Link, and Scales had his own motives, and was built up as this unapproachable monster this whole time. But at least Fox gets to put a hurting on Andros the old-fashioned way. Not like Nintendo would ever waste such an opportunity after the trouble of finding a plausible way for resurrecting an old foe and... Oh, wait! Never mind. Anyway, as abrupt as Andros' comeback was, this might be the most fun I've had blasting out his monkey-ass face. It was so unexpected, so divorced from what's going on with the rest of the Star Fox team. It's really just Fox and Andros, and... Wait a second. What the hell is this? You've got to be shitting me. Where the hell you been, Falco? Actually, the answer lies in a manga only released in Japan, which explains why Falco wasn't here at the outset. You know, Nintendo does this a lot. Look at Metroid. That series had a prequel manga to explain everything in Samus's past. Ridley, Mother Brain, the Chozo. Yeah, Adam Malkovich. He also pops up once in a while. Plus, there's a PTSD freakout. So embarrassing, it makes that 1-minute brain fart in Other M look like nothing. Just saying. But back to Star Fox. I could spend another half hour picking this game apart, and we can all debate the wisdom of forcing Rare to change Dinosaur Planet into Star Fox Adventures. But over a decade later, it's hard to argue with the results. We've simply got a fun, immersive adventure game with memorable characters whose only real flaw is losing a good amount of steam near the end. If you pass this by and still have a GameCube or Wii, I'd say pick it up. Give it a shot.